Today we're going to be making the best homemade pumpkin muffins, pumpkin spice muffins you can have. Now, I've had pumpkin muffins and I've made pumpkin muffins before, but nothing is soft and fluffy as this. And when you're baking with pumpkin, it can really alter the texture of the muffin. This is why these are so perfect, because they're soft and fluffy. Save your money. You don't have to go to Starbucks. You don't have to go to the bakery and get your muffins. Make them at home. You know what's going in them. And they're so easy and delicious. So easy. We are making two different components to this. We're making our crumble topping because I think the crumble topping just goes so perfectly. So into our bowl, we're adding some all-purpose flour, and you're also going to need some almond flour. The almond flour is going to give this a really great texture. So I wouldn't skip it if I were you. I'm using some brown sugar as well. You can use cane sugar for this if you would prefer. I do love brown sugar though, so I'm using brown sugar. Now, when I was making this, I misread what I had in my recipe book because I have this written down, and I put a little bit too much of flour on the crumble, but I'll have the amounts listed for you below. We're going to give our dry ingredients a mix really well. Next, I have some very cold butter that I'm going to press and pinch and squeeze into our flour and our dry ingredients here to create our crumble. You can use like a pastry cutter if you want until it looks like wet sand. Now, I will have all the amounts below, like I said. Cover that up, put it in the fridge while we work on our batter. You want to make sure that you have your oven preheated to 350 degrees as well as your muffin tray lined. I'm using these taller liners because that way I can fit a lot of crumble without it spilling over the top. If you use regular liners, they kind of will spill over the top a little bit, but they'll still be delicious. Into our bowl, I have some softened butter and some cane sugar. Gonna mix this together. It's gonna be a little hard because the butter, it's not too much butter we're using, which is gonna be a perfect balance between the pumpkin puree and the muffins. So to help that along, I've added in some vanilla extract. You know I like to go heavy on my vanilla. So about 2 tablespoons of vanilla. And we're gonna mix that for about 2 to 3 minutes until it's nice and smooth. Then we're gonna add in our pumpkin puree, just 100% pure pumpkin puree. And then we're going to stir that in as well. Now we're going to give that a mix for about 2 minutes. I'm adding in my pumpkin pie spice here. You can add different spices that make pumpkin pie spice, like cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, allspice, ginger, or you can just use pumpkin pie spice. Mix that in with your wet ingredients to make sure that it's thoroughly combined. I know some people like to sift that in with their dry, but I added into my wet just to make sure it's fully incorporated. Next goes in my 2 large eggs, and you see I'm using like a hand whisk here to make this. You can just use a whisk like I'm using a hand mixer. You don't have to pull out fancy equipment. It's really easy and quick to do, and this is perfect for breakfast. For what I think it's a perfect little breakfast little treat. In goes my baking soda, which I sifted in, and my all-purpose flour, which I'm also sifting in, and I'm just going to use my spatula and incorporate my dry with my wet, and that is it. Ingredients are super simple. We have butter, sugar, pumpkin puree, vanilla. Don't forget to add a pinch of salt to your dry ingredients as well. Sift that in. I like to use like Himalayan salt or just use regular table salt. Don't forget the salt to your crumble, and don't forget the salt to your muffin because it really will elevate that pumpkin flavor. It kind of can be a little bit bland, so you do need that little bit of salt to your crumble as well as your muffin. Don't forget it, like I probably did in my batter here. I actually forgot my salt. I didn't forget it in the crumble, but I don't know if that showed in the clip that I added it or not. But yes, so what I'm doing now is I'm placing my crumble. I took it out the fridge. I fluffed it up with my hands, and I'm adding it to the top of my muffins. I'm pressing it down onto the batter so it kind of sticks to the batter, and it will bake into the cupcake as it is rising. Now, notice in this cupcake, we did not use any baking powder. We are using baking soda alone in this cupcake, and it will rise perfectly, and it will be the perfect fluffy little muffin, let me tell you. These are going to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes. You want to make sure that they are fully baked, especially being that it is moist. It is like all that pumpkin and stuff in there, so you want to make sure that it's fully cooked through for about 30 to 35 minutes. You can also use some of these finishing sugars or salts on top of your muffin. I do like the English toffee one because it has a really nice like toffee flavor and it goes well with the crumble, so you could sprinkle some of that on top. But as you can see here, fluffy muffin. I mean, who doesn't love a fluffy muffin? Especially when you are making a homemade pumpkin muffin. I feel like it can be very dense because of all the moisture that's going in there, but this is anything but that. This is soft, it's fluffy, it's delicious. It's flavorful, it's spiced, it's sweet, you know? So it's just great all around. It's a really great breakfast. You can probably have this like a breakfast treat for Thanksgiving or that like the fall mornings with your pumpkin spice coffee or just a regular coffee. Just enjoy it. Have it, enjoy it. Let me know if you try it down below and you enjoy it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.